Okay, it's a beautiful June day, and it is June the 5th, and I'm going to give you a tour of what we've been working on out here in the garden and throughout the garden. But first off, I want to show you something on the back porch here. This is a little thing I cobbled together. As you can see, it's one of those catch trays for water for a large pot on a deck, and then it's a Home Depot bucket, and it's a towel. And what I'm actually doing is I'm using it for a little stool in the garden. I don't roll around on it. I get up and kind of shove it into place with my foot and then sit back down again. But it makes it just the right height to be able to pull overgrowth out of the garden, that sort of thing. And I wanted to show it to you because I thought it was kind of nifty. I do have that big cart back there, but it's heavy and it also needs its tires aired up. It's been out here all winter and I haven't been up to getting the compressor going to air them up. I had surgery earlier this month and I'm moving a little bit slow, but I'm getting back there. So now let's go down here in the East Garden and I will show you a bit of it and what we've been doing. I'm gonna sit down over here on the bench with the beautiful corydalus at its feet, and I'm going to tell you about what Amos has been up to. Mostly it's been his hard labor. You can see that we got the second layer of Midas gravel down, and there's tau out there in the distance, and then we've got the clerodendron that has a beautiful umbrella. And if you looked at the October from last year where I showed you the berries on that tree, you would know what a mess it was down here. So we really cleaned it up. We left the azalea, and if we go down here, I can show you back there in the background, there's the little Japanese lantern and all of its pretties. So we'll walk back there a little bit, but first I'm going to scan over here and show you the buffalo bluegrass with Emperor Ming in between. And get up here so you can see it. Makes a nice display. Got the little pretty glass goodie here. And a few little close-ups. Here's Spitfire over here with his new globe. And we've got the little tray with the turtles. That's Towee because we've got the big Tau in the garden. Let's go around here. And I will show you something else that we have planned. There's the little Japanese lantern. This I found at a garage sale, and I don't know, it just kind of caught my eye, and I decided that I would buy it. Amos and I are going to take the PVC pipe off straight, and then I'm going to buy a catch tray in kind of a nice color, I hope, in a ceramic, and we'll take caulking and we'll attach it to the top, and that will be another bird bath, and it'll fill whenever we water with the watering appliance there. And we'll show you the rose, which is 4th of July rose, but it's reverting into something that's red. I don't know why. And then meadow rue, which is all bent toward the sun. And these are just beginning to fade, but they were alums, which is a kind of a onion that grows here in the garden. And then let's take you over and show you the other part. Well, first we'll make a short stop at the fuchsias. The blue is coming in. That's a beauty. It's called a red beauty. And then we have the ballerina here. These are all perennial fuchsias, and they grow to be almost as tall as the porch. So we're talking about 6 to 8 feet. And then we have at their base the wild bleeding heart, which is beginning to fade. And then Mrs. Popple back there is coming into her own. She'll be blooming soon too. I've decided I'm going to do a series of short videos and show you things as they bloom this year in the garden. So this is the new area. We still need another load of minus gravel in it. This is to the east also. It's on the other side of the path, and this used to be the orchard, but you remember we took out the cherry tree a few years back because it just was not healthy at all. And then we took the apple tree out a couple of years ago because it got New Zealand scab, and I just will not use any chemicals in the garden, and therefore I ended up with it being just a stump because it would not give us our apples that we wanted. But we still have the lovely plum tree, and what I want to do with that stump is I want to put a piece of wood, a round piece of wood on it. I'm going to paint it bright blue, I've decided. And then underneath it, I'm going to establish a little fairy village. I think it'll be a lot of fun to build, and it'll make a really nice interest area in that part of the garden. Then as we move around here, we've got a little bit more that we're working on. We still need to put in the bark dust around the daylilies that I took out of the other part of the east garden. But then we've got this raised bed, which Ruth, when I was recovering, came over and did this pot of plants for me that are hen and chicks, and so they will all spread all over that pot and trickle down. And we saved some things out of that east garden area that we put all of the minus gravel over. We've got some glads coming up. The Stella d'Oro is blooming, and then the blueberries and the grapes are doing really nicely. And Amos and I decided we're going to also minus gravel down this path here that he's cleared and over between the grapes and the blueberries, because it's just an open area that we use to throw our debris in and that kind of thing, and that way we can keep it cleaner. We just finished up with the peonies blooming. I trimmed these off so the last of the buds would come out, and we've got the really nice currant that's coming up, and of course the sweet peas that grow on the fence every year. And then I cleaned out this bed recently, sitting on my little stool. It had a whole bunch of violets in it. I have violets all over the place. If you look down here and you know what you're looking at, those little heart-shaped leaves, those are violets, and they are thugs in the garden, but that's okay. We can pull them up. This is Love in the Mist, and I really like it. It's a pretty little plant, looks kind of sci-fi. And after the bloom, it gets these pods on it that grow to be about the size of a kumquat, and they're striped purple and white. And the nice thing about them is I just heard recently that those pods, the black seeds in them, not only make more love in the midst, but also that's cumin, someone told me, the spice. So that's kind of interesting to know. Now let's go down the path here a little bit toward the Moroccan room, and we're on the south side of the house, and we're going to have a beautiful bed of daylilies here in another couple of weeks. They usually come on for Father's Day, and I will take pictures of them because they're my pride and joy. I really love the variations in them. We've got the pond behind the reeds, and the peonies behind there that I haven't trimmed off yet. And the mock orange is in bloom. It blooms on new wood, so it looks like it has a little girdle on it, doesn't it? And then on around here, the two grasses that were in the pots last year are coming up, but they're coming up really slow. I don't know if they're going to make it or not. And then some foxglove and a whole bunch of more daylilies that we put in. The Mexican feather grass and the other grass, I can't remember what it's called. And then these plants here are called campanula, and they'll bloom in big pink bells all over. And naturally we've got the water barrel, which I still would like to paint in a nice blue or a nice yellow, oh darn it Teresa, in a nice green one day. And then the trellis that was here, you probably remember from past videos, was white, and it fell over in a windstorm. this last winter, and I tried to set it back up and it wouldn't work. So now we have a metal one in there, and you can see that the sweet peas are taking advantage of it. And so they will be in bloom soon too, and some more love in the midst at their feet. So the nice thing about having a lot of plants is you don't have a lot of weeds, which is good. There's a little Corydalis hiding back there amongst the reeds at the bottom of the fern. And let's take a long distance look here first. You can see that the wisteria has created a nice arbor, and to the right we've got Dad's columbine bed that is his favorite, and then the feeding station that we established, I think it was last year or the year before. So let's look at some of the columbines, which are just beautiful little guys. We're kind of on the end of it. Some of the purple ones have already gone. This is the typical Oregon one with the big long spurs on it. We've got the white down here. There's a really pretty pink in there. A variance here of the pink. The thing I like about the columbines is that they cross-pollinate. So you get all kinds of different varieties that you, let me get the shadow away from it here, that you have each year because they've cross-pollinated and created different things. Here's a little purple one down here. So they're really nice. The bench is in there, and the mosaic that we made at its feet, bird bath. We've got still the yard, or I should say fence art, and we have a perennial geranium growing here, and a white Corydalis, and another Stella Diora. And then if we look back this way, we're looking toward the shade garden. In fact, we're getting into the shade garden underneath Katie, the Katsura. Oh, and look who's up there. Look, it's a squirrel. Let's see if we can zone in on him. There he is. Mr. Squirrel is saying hi to us. He really would like us to get out of his way so that he could eat. He's very, very friendly. He's this year's batch, and you can actually hold a peanut out for him and he will eat it. And so we've got these, which they look icky now, but what they are is winter crocuses, and the foliage will die, but come October, November, we'll have some really pretty purple blooms in there. And we've got another bird bath. We've got to have lots of water for the birdies. They like that a lot. A huge, huge fern here in the shade garden. It's the biggest I've ever had in the yard. It's probably as wide across as I am tall. And then a variety of different kind of shade plants, including the wild bleeding heart and the Japanese anemone, and then this pot is full of Japanese fountain grass, or it might be called river grass. I can't remember for sure. And we've got some coral bells there with the chartreuse kind of color to it, and then the Rose of Sharon will bloom here shortly, and they're all at the base of the big willow. So we're gonna back up here a little bit, and we're gonna go over here to the swing, which I haven't put the pad in it yet, but we're gonna sit down in it. My brother hung it for me so I could take advantage of it. Whoa! And then you can see that we opened up the end of Morocco. Morocco needs a new roof. It has one of those corrugated plastic roofs on it, so we're going to have to get that going. And so that's another project for this summer, but it's looking really nice. You can look that way and see. And I will be back with you sooner than next month, because I will be showing you the daylilies when they bloom. And we'll see them in the new East Garden and also in the South Garden where they have always been. Until we talk again, I hope you have a lovely beginning to your summer. Get out there and enjoy it in the green of the garden.